You want to use your foot kick off chocolate. When the war so easy on me body. And when it cut man them there, the man to man the look and it on them there. So I don't time for the on them there.
Welcome. This is the mailbox here every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. on your favorite gospel station, Love 101 FM. It's June 24th, 2026. Can you imagine almost coming to the end of June already? Well, this evening we'll be looking at our post Father's Day show. Father's Day was a wonderful opportunity to show love, appreciation, and gratitude to the special fathers in your life. It was a special day to honor and celebrate fathers, father figures, and paternal bonds. Fathers, in a world gripped by uncertainty, turmoil, and rising unthankfulness, your God given role remains sacred and irreplaceable. You're not in competition with mothers. Your strength complements their nurture and nature. You don't seek bribes from your children nor live to impress the world. You lead with integrity, provide with sacrifice, and protect with unwavering love. Proverbs 20 verse 7 says, "The just man walketh in his integrity. His children are blessed after him." Even when society forgets the worth of fathers, God remembers. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord. Colossians 3 verse 23. Your silent prayers, sleepless nights, and difficult choices are seen by heaven. You are not here to be popular, but to be faithful. Be strong and let your heart take courage, all you who wait for the Lord. Psalm 31 verse 24. So, lead with love, not dominance. Guide with wisdom, not manipulation. Raise children with honor, truth, not trend. Fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. Ephesians 6 verse 4. In a world where applause is fickle and values shift, remain steadfast. Be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong. 1 Corinthians 16 verse 13. Your reward is not in fleeting praise, but in eternal impact. Men, fathers, you're not alone. God is with you, and your calling is divine. Keep walking with purpose. You are chosen, you are capable, you're called. This is a program designed for men with guests who are men, hosted by men, and it's aired every Wednesday unless it's a holiday at 5:30 p.m. right here on Love 101, your family station. It's the mailbox. By the way, I'm Kevin Bailey, my co-host right here.
Courtney Morrison here with you. Thanks very much, Kevin. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the program, The Mailbox. And to all our listeners, thanks for making Love 101 your station of choice. We are talking about post Father's Day. How did you show gratitude to fathers in your life? How can we continue to celebrate their role and spend quality time doing what they like beyond Father's Day? Probably we need to have Father's Week. Today, we will be having a conversation with special guest, Mr. Andrew Dennis, aka Miss Pearly Grandson. Share about family life, the importance of father and child relationship. We are going to be having an exciting program.
That's right, Courtney. Just for audience to get a little bit, if you don't know already, Mr. Andrew Dennis, aka Miss Pearly Grandson, widely known as Miss Pearly Grandson. Andrew Dennis is an educator, corporate trainer, media personality, entrepreneur, and cultural storyteller. Having taught in both Jamaica and overseas, Andrew has dedicated his career to empowering people through education, mentorship, and personal development. Today, he specializes in customer service excellence, leadership, communication, and professional development training, helping individuals and organizations unlock their full potential. Through his Miss Pearly Grandson brand, Andrew celebrates Jamaican culture, preserves cherished traditions, and creates meaningful conversations that connect generations at home and across the diaspora. Known for his authenticity, insight, and engaging storytelling, He continues to inspire audiences through media, training, events, and community engagement. Welcome, welcome, Miss Pearly Grandson.
Good afternoon to you. Can you hear me well?
Sure, we're hearing you clear, clear.
That's wonderful. How are we doing, men?
Well, one of the things I think that needs to be added to your bio is your height, you know, because I think you look bigger
Ah, ah,
on
ah, ah,
social
ah,
media
ah.
than in person. And so I told you I'd meet you again,
Nobody
didn't I?
told me that
And
I
so,
was signing up to be shaded, sir. I thought we were supposed to be a part of an empowering experience and we were supposed to be sharpening each other. As the Bible says, iron sharpened
well,
iron.
you
How
can be
can you
empowered,
use it with me fault?
We have a festival song that say you can wear a big heel boot and a barefoot pants, and that we work. That works
Listen,
well.
small
So
Zacchaeus,
welcome to
big
you to have you
personality.
here with
Do not
us.
don't underestimate the power of a Zacchaeus. You hear that?
Definitely,
I
definitely.
Zacchaeus is a prominent feature in scripture. So yeah, of course, we would never ever
Very
do so.
prominent.
Good to have you, sir. Good to be here with us. Just
Pleasure.
want to remind man and man that remember, we want to hear from you. We are live on Facebook and YouTube at Love 101 FM Jamaica. Remember, you can leave your comments via our WhatsApp line at 876-997-3125. That's 876-997-3125. Or call us on our studio lines at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328. Also, we are on TikTok at Love 101 FM Jamaica. We're gonna have such an exciting program today.
Yes, and ladies, what I say? This is how you can participate today. We want you to answer the question: what did you do for your father or the father figure in your life on Father's Day? So, ladies, please answer. What did you do for your father or the father figure in your life on Father's Day? You can participate in the program by leaving us a message via WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube. Ladies, remember, no calls or voice notes are allowed. Allow the man them to do that, but you can participate by WhatsApp and Facebook and YouTube. Right. So, Courtney, time for the shout out now.
Yes.
Right. So,
So,
uh, yeah, go ahead,
Mr.
Courtney.
Dennis, as is customary during this time, we count to three, 1, 2, 3, and then we shout Monday. So we're going to ask you to join us that as we shout, as we count down or count up to three, that after that you shout Monday. So 1, 2, 3, Monday.
Monday! Yes.
Same way. So, and with that, before we go into our main feature, we do what we call draft, and we ask the question here. It's preliminary and it opened the way to our main segment. So, Mr. Dennis, aka Pearly Grandson, is with us. Your question right now is Father's Day given enough recognition or attention in society? Is Father's Day given enough recognition or attention in society? Yay or nay? And tell us your reason why you say either of the two.
My answer is no. And the reason why I say no is because we have evidence in the social media space that in mainstream media as well as in social media that tell us that Father's Day itself does not get the kind of attention that Mother's Day does. And I can use even my own experience to corroborate that because I did a video for Mother's Day, and that video went to well over 100,000 views on a single platform. And I did a
Wow.
video for Father's Day, and that video struggled to get to 10,000 views.
Wow. Did you say 100,000 to 10,000?
Yes, sir.
Wow. I,
That's
I
10
I guess I'll
times
follow up
for
by
more. That.
no, I just follow up. If you could tell us, and I know we're gonna come back for it, but what you think accounts for this? You know, if you were to go two or three reasons, why is it that Mother's Day get all of this focus, emphasis, big up, while Father's Day we struggle? What's your take on that?
My opinion is that the reasons are many and varied, you know. For one, it comes down to the nature of females as compared with the nature of men. You know, females are more uh, emotionally driven, and there's more sensationalism surrounding females. So automatically, they will have more noise around anything having to do with females. And at the same time, too, females celebrate themselves and females celebrate each other in a very loud way. You know, so that in and of itself would have generated a lot more traction around anything that is dubbed female, you know. But more than that, we cannot negate the critical role that females have played in the life of the society over the years, even when us as men have failed our families. And I feel that because of the majority female run single parent household, if you were to go back in time a little bit, because of that, then the celebration would have been around her struggle, around her doing it by herself, and around her victory, her triumph when she comes through, you know, socializing her kid. But I want to hasten to say as well that if we pay attention, we will see where over a period of time, the Father's Day have gained significantly more traction in the media space, in our society at large, because
Yes.
I feel like over a period of time, fathers have recalibrated and recalculated their roles and are showing up more now for their children than we have ever seen in the history of this country.
So true. So true.
Well, I am one of those who love to ask the question though, when did this change? Because when I look biblically, I saw where fathers were more celebrated, were more upfront. What would have caused the shift that, it comes to a position where we're seeing more mothers? Because Kevin knows I love to ask the question, where did it all start? How was it engendered? And why is it the way it is now? And I'm thanking you for especially your first um, description of why you believe in terms of women being more celebrating of each other. And as such, I believe our men need to come to that position. For oftentimes, I believe our men berate our own men far more. Behave like your man. You're not a real father. That needs to change. Don't you agree?
Yeah, man, absolutely, absolutely. But I wanna go back to your point that you made about the difference in gender roles now as compared with Bible days. It is important that we put this thing in context and we understand what we're up against. Um, the Bible, if we were to look in history based on the bit of it that has been revealed to us, the Bible is the first form of media. The Bible is print media. So long before TV, long before radio, long before cell phones,
We
I think
lost
we
Miss Pearl grandson there. Let's take the first break and then we come back to the conclusion of
Bible,
his
you
is
know,
is telling us. You were out for a while, Miss Pearl grandson. So we're going to take our first break here on the mailbox. We're talking about post Father's Day celebrations as well. Our guest is Mr. Andrew Dennis, aka Miss Pearl grandson. It's myself and Kevin Bailey. We have been doing this for the last 13 years together. We'll soon come back.
Last year, over 15,000 gathered for an unforgettable moment with CC Winans. This year, Come Alive Collective presents Come Alive, a national call to worship featuring Michael W. Smith, Papa San, Jermaine Edwards, John Mark Wigan, and more. Saturday, August 1, King's House East Lawn. Gates open 2 p.m. Get your tickets now at Fontana Pharmacy or TouchstoneLink.com. Come Alive, Jamaica! This is your moment. Love 101 heads to Cool Mandeville for a special live outside broadcast as Blessings Pharmacy celebrates 7 years of service. Yep, join us Friday, June 26th as we go to Blessings Pharmacy, Chiago Plaza, 1 Wesley Road, Mandeville. Tune in as Love 101 brings you an exciting time of uplifting music, community spirit, giveaways, special anniversary promotions, and the warm, friendly service you've come to expect from Blessings Pharmacy. Come on out, meet the team, share in the festivities, and help celebrate 7 years of trust, support, and a friendly service from Blessings Pharmacy. Every experience is a blessing. Blessings Pharmacy, Chiago Plaza, 1 Wesley Road, Mandeville. Don't miss the live broadcast Friday, June 26, 2:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the family station, Love 101.
Montego Bay, we're here. It's time to transform your space with Home and Things. Your construction finishes superstore is now open in Ironshore. Come explore our stunning new showroom at 1215 Providence Way. From tiles and bathroom fixtures to stylish fittings and home decor for every budget. We have everything you need to build or renovate in style. Quality you trust at the lowest prices guaranteed. Visit us today at 1215 Providence Way, Ironshore. Jamaica builds with Home and Things.
I am a man, yes. Strong man, integrity man, I am a man.
Welcome back. This is the Mailbox, aired every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. on your favorite gospel station, Love 101 FM. Courtney Morrison, Kevin Bailey in the place. Our very special guest, Miss Pearlie Grandson. Before we continue the conversation, just a reminder that coming this Saturday, Man of God Ministry with Family, Word and Worship, Juna Tucker, Danny Brownie, and Paul Blake and Cavan Allen with myself, Kevin Bailey. We'll be having men's conference. What do women want? We're going to be focusing on that this Saturday, June 27th at 9 a.m. goes to 4 p.m. at 6 Belmont Road. And it is free. So man oh man, we're inviting you to come by, register. And what a great time we had at Transform Life. Want to big up Bishop Dwight Fletcher and Pastor Luke and the team there at Transform Life. And all the men that came out and said, boy, them listen to the Mailbox, and Courtney, well by encouragement. So want to encourage the man.
Nice.
Yeah, so Courtney, remind Miss Pearlie Grandson the question. So we can.
No, he doesn't have to remind me of the question. As a matter of fact,
He was responding about the gender roles and that Bible was written here.
Yeah, man.
Go ahead, Sir Dennis.
Yeah, man. So for the purpose of context, sorry about that. For the purpose of context, Bible was the first form of media. Now, you recognize the significant role that media plays in weaving narratives, even in today's society. What we want people to believe, we push it out there. What we don't want them to know about, we kind of sort of hold it down, right? So coming out of a period that is dominated by patriarchy and men, you get me? It is easy to see men being celebrated. It is easy to see them have bamboo tika push up the man them in a heaven, but I don't think that if we really and truly add context, I don't think that the role of women were significantly less in those times than it is now. It is just a matter of what they chose to document at the time.
And we now have this opportunity that we can encourage, challenge, empower our men. You did mention that we're making strides, and from what we're seeing, we're seeing Father's Day getting more prominence, and I think if you look at it 10 years to now, things are gathering steam. So we're looking at things to get better. So
So true, you know, Kevin. I actually saw some tables with baskets on Sunday. I had a most fantastic Father's Day. It's the first in such a long time. The celebration, oh God, man, I felt honored, valued. It was appreciated. Big up to Felter Portmore. I have to big them up. Brian, do a great job Sunday, man. And also to Transform Life, Bishop Dwight Fletcher. You guys have been doing a fantastic job. But as I said, one of the things that just I had to stop and come out to the car, Kevin. I saw tables with baskets for fathers on the road near what we call 85 in Portmore. I had to stop and I said, yes!
Yeah, no, true. We have to be grateful. Sir Andrew, Miss Pearlie grandson, we want the audience to kind of get to know you a little bit, you know, those who don't know. Can you share a little bit about your early years? Where were you born? What was it like growing up? Did you born with gold spoon in your mouth? You know, tell us a little bit about those formative years.
I think that's a bit rhetorical, because you know me never born, not even with a rusty one. Not even with a rusty one. But I was born in Kingston at Victoria Jubilee Hospital. And I spent my first couple of years in town. And then when squabbles start, that I don't know the details of because I'm too young to know it, I was taken to my paternal grandmother in St. Elizabeth. And that was where I grew up. So most of my memory would have been with my grandmother, Miss Pearlie, in St. Elizabeth. So I went to school in St. Elizabeth.
That's amazing. You really had a grandmother by the name of Miss Pearlie. I thought it was just a name you give yourself. Awesome. What an honor.
So big man in I'm right mind just come out on the social media and decide to call himself Miss Pearlie grandson and nobody no name Miss Pearlie. That sound like somebody with has sense?
Stranger things have happened, Andrew. Stranger things have happened.
You're absolutely right.
Right. So you're telling us.
So you're growing up. Yeah, you're telling us about your growing up, and so was it your grandmother that had the most influence in your life? Talk to us.
Yeah, Miss Pearlie outdid herself, and for a very long time, I had, I'm gonna say bitterness or resentment, but I was conflicted because I didn't understand why I never get the nuclear family experience. I was conflicted because I never understood why when PTA meetings are being held, I couldn't have mom or dad. And my granny was not going to walk 4 miles to come on a PTA meeting in Arbonian. You get me?
Aye.
So I never had that parental support for a very long time at school. And I also feel as though some of the ills that I experienced at school as well, because I didn't have parents to represent me and to stand up for me, would have been as a consequence of that. But when I look back now and I understand it better, it gives me a bit of peace and closure, because I now understand that my father was probably 22 or 23-year-old. My mother was 19. They were children. So even though in the initial stages I would have regarded my life as, a curse, as it were, just because I never had the luxury of a nuclear family setting or structure, I in hindsight now, I think that the best thing that they could have ever done for me is bring me and give me to somebody who was older, who was more mature, and who did know the runnings, know the lay of the land.
Tremendous. As you say, hindsight is 2020, right?
Absolutely.
Alison Tomlinson says, good evening. Father's Day was sad for me. Lost my dad in 2017. He was buried on Father's Day in 2017.
Oh no,
my
condolences.
ball from morning till night. She said, my ball from morning till night. He was my general. Great dad. Rest in peace, Daddy Vernon. So sorry about that, Alison. And you treasure him in your heart, but it's really hard. Thanks for
Hey,
sharing.
Kevin, I just
Yeah.
at this point also want to say to some folks out there, we know that they experience Father's Day without their father dying. The donors experience their first Father's Day without Mr. Downer, Mr. Noel Downer, and quite many persons had that sort of mixed feeling on Father's Day. Something like myself as well. No dad. It is. We just want to encourage you and say, hey, it's still well. And remember, those of us who are men as well, that are fathers, let's take comfort in being treated well by those who are around us and value us as well. It's a good feeling.
Sir Andrew, here's a comment. Want your perspective on. Lizzie says, we also believe man no really require not much. Mothers get gifts and fathers get happy Father's Day. What's your take on that? Um,
Lizzie is absolutely right for making the comment, but the sentiment of the comment is absolutely wrong. It could not be wronger. And I think that's where our families have failed us because they have overestimated our strengths. I think the society and I think the Bible set we up too. Because even the scriptures that you were quoting at the top of the show, I was
yes.
listening to it and I was listening to how the Bible commands us to be strong, to be courageous, to be bold. And so that now defines masculinity over a period of time. And so the young men or the men
Yeah,
who failed to demonstrate and embody those attributes were regarded as man too, less than. You get me? So it's
yeah,
it's a whole
yeah,
it's a whole lot to unpack. But the truth of the matter is that we really need just as much. It's just that we not like it sparkly and shiny, Lizzie. Was it Lizzie the comment came from?
Right.
When I like it sparkly and shiny, but the very same needs that women have, men have them too, but just expressed differently and satisfied differently. Because we are all human beings
amen.
together, and though to different extent, we are all emotional creatures.
No, definitely.
I
Definitely.
love what you're saying, Sir Dennis, because when we look at it, there is a certain expectation based on what we were seeing and hearing, especially as we define strength when it comes on to men. And so to see a man cry, to see a man break down, he's considered weak. But I love to tell persons this, if you cry in front of people, must take strength, because look your best entire ball, you know. Um, and so we have to stop and consider why is it and how is it that we express our emotions, whether male or female. As you say, we manage them differently. And it's time we recognize that as opposed to calling one strong and one weak.
I
Your
want to tell
thoughts
you,
on
Sir
that,
Courtney,
Andrew?
I want to plug right here too, that I could almost present the thesis statement that the reason we are feeling the presence of our men more now is because a lot more men are tuning in, are connecting with their emotional side because it takes emotions to care. And the truth of the matter is that we have seen over time where men have been demonstrating more care. It's not that they didn't care before, but the demonstration of care has increased tremendously among us as men. And that could have only happened because we are now more in touch with our emotions as men. You get me? So, formally,
Agreed.
traditionally, men were seen as providers and protectors. You get me? And so
Yeah.
we assumed the role that was superimposed on us. Get up, go out there, go look the bread, and come back. Because we were called strong, we were also seen as the disciplinarians. So when people at the home and misbehave, mother no bother fi handle that. Them say, wait until your father come. That automatically paints fathers in a negative light. So children automatically cling more to mommy
Yes,
than
it
they did
does.
to dad traditionally, and that is the reason why more emotion was demonstrated to mom than was demonstrated to dad, because dads were socialized to be strict and draconian, and man no laugh up, and man no play games and all kind of foolishness. And as a consequence of that, it translated to resentment almost towards the children. The pity them is afraid of them father. Ask me about it.
Yeah, no, we're gonna come back to that,
Mm-hmm.
Andrew. Miss Pearly grandson, serious word. We take our break and we go to studio. Courtney and Kevin, our special guest, Miss Pearly grandson. We'll be right back in a moment.
This is Love 101 FM, the family station. It's 6 o'clock. Love 101 heads to Cool Mandeville for a special live outside broadcast as Blessings Pharmacy celebrates 7 years of service. Yep, join us Friday, June 26th as we go to Blessings Pharmacy, Chiago Plaza, 1 Wesley Road, Mandeville. Tune in as Love 101 brings you an exciting time of uplifting music, community spirit, giveaways, special anniversary promotions, and the warm, friendly service you've come to expect from Blessings Pharmacy. Come on out, meet the team, share in the festivities, and help celebrate 7 years of trust, support, and a friendly service from Blessings Pharmacy. Every experience is a blessing. Blessings Pharmacy, Chiago Plaza, 1 Wesley Road, Mandeville. Don't miss the live broadcast Friday, June 26, 2:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the family station, Love 101.
I am a man, I am a man, I am a man, yes. Strong man, integrity man, I am a man.
Welcome back to the program, The Mailbox. I'm Pastor Courtney Morrison, along with Kevin Bailey. Our guest today is Mr. Andrew Dennis. You know him better as Miss Pearly grandson. And before we went for the break, we were just talking about men being in touch with their emotional side. And one thing that I truly believe is that God made woman from man. And that's why the term woman means from man. And I don't believe God took our emotions out of us and placed it in woman. So both males and female, we might have probably one or two more than the women as well. But it's the matter express them and manage them. You know, I just want to give a big up to Port Henderson Primary School Principal Miss Ramona Bromfield. They had their graduation, their school leaving sermon today, and it was just so exciting to see more boys graduating than girls. That sounds biased, don't it? But it's just a good thing. The top 10 students, 7 out of 10 are boys in PEP this year. So we're seeing something happening where a balancing act is now coming back into play. So as per the grandson, Kevin, and you know, next week we celebrate 14 years of working together on the mailbox. It's amazing.
Wonderful.
Amazing.
I know you like.
Well,
I know you
here's-
like me, Andrew.
Yes, I'm hearing.
Yes. What were some of the specific challenges you faced as a father over the years, and how did you overcome them? You know, tell us a little bit about your experience there.
As a dad, I can't speak in the past tense. I have to speak in the present continuous. So it would have to be what challenge am I
Okay.
facing? If you are a father and you are not facing a challenge, maybe you're not fathering properly, because the oppositions are unrelenting. They don't quit, you know. And especially now when social media have all sorts of ensemble flying around. You know, you have to work overtime. You have to be extremely vigilant when it comes on to socializing your children in this time, if you want them to be of a certain moral fabric when they come into adulthood. And so if it, for me, speaking from a general perspective, every father is facing the challenge of, you know, bringing up um, morally upright children in a time when we have seen, you know, such degradation and erosion of our morals and values. But more specifically, I am challenged, and I continue to be challenged because I'm the father of a child with special needs.
Wow. Wow.
And so
Yeah.
my child is
I can
more
imagine that child.
heavily reliant
Appreciate it.
on me than the typical child would be on their parents, because I have to
Yeah.
be there for my child 24/7.
Wow. Wow.
And we
That
just
that
want to give a
seems.
special shout out to those fathers who have that challenge as well, to Sir Andrew, where their son, their daughter, their children have special needs. Richard Blackwood, I can speak about him, as well as Sir, what's his name again? Sir Lawrence from Spur Open. It must take special parents, special fathers to actually deal with special needs. And we so continue to pray for you and those, and give the support and the encouragement, that is needed. But, before time goes, we have a tendency for time to fly past us. And we're talking about, our focus is really on post Father's Day celebration as well. What are some things we can do? Father's Day has come, it has gone. We're in the week following. What are some of the things? There are some suggestions that are given here. Show appreciation, express gratitude, thank fathers for their love, support, and guidance. To celebrate their role, acknowledge the important role that they play in shaping family, and create memories, spend quality time with fathers and enjoy, make it personal. Andrew, Sir Andrew Dennis, may
Yeah.
you tell us, how would you help to engender some of these things by showing appreciation, creating memories, and honoring father figures? What do we do to ensure that that's done and more of our fathers encouraged?
Well, I tell you what I think we can do. The first step to addressing any problem or issue is identifying that problem or issue. We have identified,
Yeah,
flagged the month of June as Men's Mental Health Month, but there's not much conversation around it, because I believe that there's a lot of
true.
hypocrisy when it comes on to that. And I feel like when it comes on, when we flag June as Men's Mental Health Month, we wanted something that looks good on paper, but we were not prepared for the difficult conversations that need to happen to address some of the things that cause men to go over the rail. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
so I think, when they say to whom much is given, much is required, we can't take that thing for granted. The role of a father is a huge one. It is a huge responsibility. And if we were to couple that with the traditional role of a man, where we are supposed to be present, but we are also supposed to provide, that thing can drive you to an early grave if you're not managing that very well, because provision and presence run counterproductive to each other. Because if more often than not, if you are providing, you are not present. And if you are present, unless you are one of those people who have managed to cause the wheels to turn in the background, and your money for work for you in the background, if you're present, 10 chances to one you're not providing. And so because to whom, much is given, much is required. I think one of the things that we cannot afford to take for granted, especially at this time in our life, is a man's mental health. It is
Yeah.
we need to move past the stage where we look at men and think that they are okay. A lot of men are not okay, and a lot of men don't have an outlet, because there are too many people overestimating our strength. And as a consequence of that, there are no provisions put in place to help to address any issue that a man may have.
And here's the challenge. No, I'd love your perspective on it, because it appears to me that a lot of the people in authority, different spaces, whether government, private sector, civil society, are led by men, and we would have hoped that men would be supporting men's mental health and creating a safer space for men to be challenged, empowered, and encouraged. What's your take on it? Because it just seems that men has all of this power, all of this authority, all of this money, etc. And why is it that we are not supporting our sons or brothers or fathers? Think Courtney mentioned it. Just your take on that, Andrew.
Because we cannot operate void of how we have been socialized.
Right.
I challenge you
Correct.
that in another, when we become old people, when we are no longer middle-aged people, we are now old, we are going to witness firsthand the shift, a paradigm shift in the way men express themselves, the way men support each other, and all of that, because
Yeah.
it is happening right now. It is happening now. But we are of the older generation who painted a picture of what masculinity is supposed to look like. And more often than not, the things that characterize that heteronormative mold or frame that we have built, we have to maintain our posture even in the presence of other men. You get what I'm saying? There are
Yeah.
men who are in
Oh
the presence
yes.
of
Oh
other
yeah.
men who are in pain, and instead of causing a tear to run down them, clench them fists and bite them lip.
Yeah.
You get me? Because we are socialized, we hold it like a G. And so it is not that we wouldn't want to support each other, but support for us does not subscribe to a heteronormative masculinity that defines us as real man. You get me?
Yeah.
Because for the
And
most
and when you
part, we're
and when you
supposed to
look
just
back as well,
hold.
Sir Dennis,
Tell me one more time.
when you look back, you see where a son would go to his father asking for a pair of shoes. And because the father had struggles and said, boy, usually polish my foot and go and walk to school. And so he gave his own son. He transfers that a hardship to his son and said, boy, the picture is painted. Unless you work hard for it, you can't get it. But I'm one of those who believe if I can give my son a head start in getting it, I'm not going to say I have to struggle and fight. As I said earlier on, I believe one of our greatest dilemma as men, even when it comes on to mental health, is that we are our greatest enemies most often. You're not a man, you're not a real man. And those things tend to discourage as opposed to actually help someone walking. When I say, and Kevin, no, I don't say man up, I say, hey, I will walk alongside you. I will walk to help you to get to you're probably not doing some things right now, but I want to be a part of your solution. When we look at the suicide rate for men, I saw something, I don't know how true it is, that says a man commits suicide. I think it's the United States. One man commits suicide every minute. And I was like, wow, it's really that stiff? So when we're thinking about Father's Day, when we're thinking about our men, there is so much that's not taken into consideration. There's a stigma and a stereotypism that is there that has to be broken. And I'm glad I'm seeing the narrative being changed
Courtney,
slowly. I wish it could move fast.
live right now, how broken our men is, check the prison population. Check the
Yeah.
prison population.
Yeah.
The men who are in prison, somewhere along the line, they were broken. And when you look past the crime that they committed, and that is the reason why one of the things that I'm not an advocate for is expulsion from school. Because I believe that we don't fix a problem when we expel a child, we pass it on to
Creating
somebody
another.
else. And so when you expel and you pass the problem from one institution to the next, sooner or later, that problem passes out into a wider society, becomes a menace, and then pass into the prison institution. So we're literally passing a problem. You get me? And so if you really want to check how broken men are, check the prison population. Because there's none in there that is whole, unless him innocent.
All right, let's take a a break there. Sir Andrew gonna come back and we continue the conversation. What a conversation. Courtney and Kevin in the place. So very special guest, Miss Pearlie grandson. We go to the studio. We'll be back in a moment.
This is Love 101 FM, the family station. It's 6:15. Love 101 heads to Cool Mandeville for a special live outside broadcast as Blessings Pharmacy celebrates 7 years of service. Yep, join us Friday, June 26th as we go to Blessings Pharmacy, Chiago Plaza, 1 Wesley Road, Mandeville. Tune in as Love 101 brings you an exciting time of uplifting music, community spirit, giveaways, special anniversary promotions, and the warm, friendly service you've come to expect from Blessings Pharmacy. Come on out, meet the team, share in the festivities, and help celebrate 7 years of trust, support, and a friendly service from Blessings Pharmacy. Every experience is a blessing. Blessings Pharmacy, Chiago Plaza, 1 Wesley Road, Mandeville. Don't miss the live broadcast Friday, June 26, 2:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the family station, Love 101.
I am a man, I am a man, I am a man, yes. Strong man, integrity man, I am a man.
Welcome back. This is the mailbox here every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. on your favorite station, Love 101 FM. Courtney, Kevin in the place of very special guest, Miss Pearlie grandson. And how do we encourage our men who may feel overwhelmed by the pressures of society, failures of the past, and other things that they may be facing, whether it's relational, financial, disappointment? You highlighted, the population in prison. Where do we start from your perspective, where instead of bashing our men, we can challenge but encourage and empower? And your perspective on that, and any pointers, Andrew.
There are many different starting points. When you have a problem that is so pervasive and spans, so many different factions of our society, whatever intervention you plan to put in place has to target different levels of men and different points where the pains are expressed. Um, so I think an excellent starting point is with our boys. I think an excellent starting point is with our boys, providing the kind of mentorship, for them, making it explicitly clear to them that as a boy, it is okay to express yourself. It is okay to let us know what is happening with you. Because a lot of the problems that we have with our young men is because they have to be bottling up and internalizing what they are feeling. You
Right.
get me? But at the same time, too, there are men who are now living with the consequences of that kind of socialization, the bottling up and the internalization. And so we now have to create outlets for these men. And we have to make it very clear that it is okay to talk to somebody, to let it out. It is okay to express what it is that is going on. If you feel overwhelmed, if you feel like you need support, if you feel like you're lacking in a particular department, it is okay to express that. And we don't judge, and we don't bash, and we don't dehumanize and any of those things, but we actually genuinely help.
And that's a big
There's a story that I want to share, Kevin, when we're talking about overcoming. There's this young man that, he's with his father, coming from his father's home. They stop together at a vehicle, in the vehicle at a stoplight. For some strange reason, that young decided to say to his father, "Daddy, I love you." And he sat and he watched the tears stream down his father's face. Even although he had over 10 children, he has never heard one of them saying to him, "Daddy, I loved you." And so many of our men and so many of our fathers don't hear that. It is assumed that they know. And I believe the more we tell fathers that we love them, that personal story is mine actually. And I watched as my father, by the time we got to the garage, the car that we were driving, he handed it over to me. It is true again when we are talking about men being emotional beings. They might not want to accept birthday cards, they don't want to be sentimental. Part of the reason I believe is because they don't want anybody to see them crying. And we need to check that. I see a comment here that I would love for someone. It says no name. Good evening, mailbox. Aren't a lot of mothers providers too? And they have to be present for the children. So why can't men do the same? Ms. Pearlie, I don't know if you want to respond to that.
I absolutely do. Thank you for that question. Women are providers and they have to also be present. Let me tell you what I think a major part of our problem in this society is. We like to compare too much. And we use each other as a yardstick to take some kind of an informal measurement and then use that as though it is set in stone. If a woman has to be a provider and has to be present, that's a broken household. So let us not identify if a problem and try to make that a solution. I didn't say that men should not be present while providing. I said it is difficult for a man to be present while providing. But by that same token, since for the purpose of that comment, since we are shifting the focus now to women, let me also make it explicitly clear that it is also difficult for a woman to be present and to provide. Anybody who is assuming both roles is going to be challenged. You get me? Because the one thing counters the next. So if a woman, if a child or if there are children who find themselves in a single parent household and the mother is the head of the household, of course she's gonna be stretched thin trying to provide as well as to be present. But let us not talk about this as though there aren't single parent households where the fathers are the head of the households. And in that instance, there goes our problem because we have to provide and we have to be present. However, I also hasten to make the point that if we're going to talk about traditional gender roles, long before women started to become more assertive in the provision space, that was the role that was assigned to a man. So traditionally, a man was a provider, the woman was present. Over time, we have had the swinging of the pendulum and the paradigm shift. And so now people are equally providing, and I dare to say, equally present. You get me? And so it is just as difficult for a woman as it is for a man. But the conversation that we're having, friend of mine who leave the comment, is the mailbox for a reason.
Thank you, Miss Pearlie grandson. Last week we had a man who was taking care of his four sons, and what an amazing story that was. The patriarchal household, and that is growing, by the way. And what I'm hearing, both the children require both parents the contribution as best as possible. So Lizzie says, present is not just a body. Present goes beyond being physically there. I want to ask Andrew, what is it that drives you? What is it that you're about that makes you want to get up in the morning? And what is it you want to leave, on this earth? And if there's a space there for our boys and our men, you may have mentioned it, but I'd love to get your heart on this.
What is it that drives? I'm driven by so many different things because
Yeah.
as somebody who is, I will say it myself, multi-talented. On any given day, I don't have any single focal point. One of the things I could easily say on this platform that drives me is my family. I don't take my role as a husband and a father lightly. And as a matter of fact, I think my wife and my daughter are the subtotal of my existence in the sense that most of what I do for them. And if I were to get up in the morning and they were not around, I would really have to sit down and twiddle my thumbs and say, okay, God, then what else then? But aside from the critical role that my family plays in driving, and getting me going on a daily basis, uh, I find that I'm a humanitarian at heart. I find that I am driven by purpose. And you know that little song we say, if I can help somebody as I journey along, then my living shall not be in
Yeah.
vain.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think we were placed here for ourselves. And I think the subtotal of the problems that we have on earth is because we've become too self-centered and too focused on us. Me, it's all about me. When in truth and in fact, a lot of the people that we meet, a lot of the things that we do, a lot of the situations we find ourselves in sometimes have absolutely nothing to do with us. A lot of times God strategically places us in people's life almost as guardian angels. A lot of times God strategically calls us to be at a place, not because we feel like being there, not because we have any purpose that we can say, oh, I am here for this. Sometimes you're at a place, you're in a person's life or whatever the case may be, and you can't see how it benefits you to be there. But friend of mine, you're not there for you. You are there for them. And so what also drives me is how I can be there for people. How I can serve people, how I can make a difference in somebody's life. And so when you ask, what would I like to leave behind? I'd like to leave behind a legacy where somebody can look and say, that brethren there, that youth there did really and truly. And one of the things I like about how God uses me is I don't do bells and whistles. Me not blow no horn or no trumpet when I do things
Yes.
for people. There are times when me I walk a road and me just see one little lady and she think that me
Yeah.
have because I have a soft spot for grandmothers. Because my grandmother check out right at the point I'm supposed to start give her back. She did just
Wow.
when me graduate college, right? She saw me through all of it, and just at the point when we supposed to put one flush toilet in her house and make sure stop walk go down at the latrine, she just said, "Enough of this, bye." You get me?
Wow.
And so
Sorry about
now
that.
I have a soft spot for grandmothers. And so sometimes I'm walking on the road and I see a lady and I don't have any money in my pocket, any cash in my pocket. And I said to myself, come on, Andrew, so you're supposed to walk with money. Because it is not unlike me to see somebody and just wrap up. So, you know how your granny always wrap up something, put in your hand?
Yeah.
You believe in that
Yes.
they wrap up something and put in at somebody's hand and not even look back so that them don't even see your face. You get
Aye.
me? Because we're not here for ourselves. We are here for each other. I tell you this real quick. I went to support my friend on Sunday. Her mom passed, regrettably. And I went to support her. I stayed at this funeral service at the church. And then I went to Meadows with the family. And when I stood at that woman's graveside, and I look how it all ends. I said to myself, why are we out here fighting, running, snickering,
Hey,
bickering,
hey.
jealous,
Yeah.
this, that,
That
bad
can
mind, when
preach.
it,
That
in
can
truth and
preach.
in fact, when it is all done, them
That's
carry you
it.
go a place and put you down in a small hole. And the only reason why you might get a bigger hole is probably because your back big. But the truth of the matter
Eh,
is that the hole will get more or less the same size, same depth, the same dimensions. And then just put you down in there, cover you down nicely, and throw back soil on top. If we truly understand that that is where it all ends, we will be of better service to
We
each
have
other
we have
here
to
on
wrap
earth.
we have to wrap there now, Andrew. We have to
Hey.
wrap there. We're out of time. So sorry, so sorry. We hear there's an event that is coming up with you. Can you just give us 10 seconds because we have to close?
MPG are bad band because the cultural, the entertainment value that is brought by a setup band should not be restricted to a dead yard. We shouldn't have to be mourning while we out there dinky mini and Brookings and dip and fall back to the wonderful music of a setup band. And so I'm going to be doing this 9-night celebration in Brooks Park, Mandeville on the 31st of July starting 6 o'clock in the evening, where I'm not bringing just one setup band, but two, and people get to rock and come in and enjoy themselves, but don't have to think about the body where we have to go put on tomorrow. So it's a setup without a dead body. Can't get it better than that.
So with that, sir, we have to say thanks to you for being here with us, Mr. Andrew Dennis, aka Miss Pearl, the grandson. Thanks to Jeremy and Johnson, our producer, Nico Angus, for technical support. We end the show with this quote: "Great fathers don't find fault. Great father finds solution." Reed Markham said that.
That's it for our show this week. Catch you next week, Wednesday, July 1, 2026, for the Summer Camp Effect with Mr. Damian Scarlett, SCFSU representative. Same place, same time, inside the mailbox. What we say? Monday.
Monday.
Hey, man.
Blessings, guys.
I am a man, yes. Strong man, integrity man. I am a man.
You're tuned to Family Radio Love 101 FM. We're broadcasting from Kingston, Jamaica, where the time is now approaching 6:31 p.m. And it's that time of day for us to bring you the temperature check